Are we going? I think we're going in a second. I still haven't fixed the widescreen. I don't know what happened with that. I'm trying. I really am. Okay, let us open up comments. Hello, hello, hello. That is not the right window that I want to hit. What is going on with you? We are frozen. Think? Are we? No? Maybe? Okay. Everything is up and going. That's okay. Yeah, I know. Next week the stream's going to be better. Next week I will have a new computer to work on. We're almost done building, or we built the computer. Now we just have to make it work. All the pieces are inside, but the brain parts aren't. The operating system and all that is not working yet because we have some other issues to work out with that. But hello. Okay. I'm a little all over the place right now. If you could not tell, I am trying to get everything up and going. I'm honestly still messed up from that promo, the post-episode promo. I watched it a couple of times. I'm not having a good time because of it. I'm gonna be hurting next week. Next week is gonna hurt a lot. So let's see. Okay, we got that, and yes. Hello. Okay, so OMG, this week wasn't like it. There were some things that happened. I'm still focused on next. I need to not focus on next week because I don't know what happens next week except for the fact that there's this promo that's ruining my life. Yeah, there are some stuff that happened this week though, and there's a lot of stuff that a lot of stuff I didn't like. There, not like in the fact of like I didn't like what I thought it shouldn't have been on the episode because I thought it did very well to completely center the characters on who they are. Like it hit all the points of like these are who these characters are, and this is what's going on with these characters, and this is what they're doing, and all like it's all like true to character. But the characters were doing things that are dumb, and I didn't like, and I'm still hung up on next week's promo. Okay, so hello, yeah, Rumple. Seriously, if he's not the big bad of this whole show, which, like, yeah, of course he is. Like I've been calling it for a while, and I think that anybody who thinks that he's not the big bad of the entire show is kind of fooling themselves at this point. Like, he tried, and he ultimately failed. So he's not coming back from that. And, like, he can pull the, oh, I really didn't mean it. I wish I hadn't done it. Like, you can pull that all you want any day of the week, but dang. I had some bad stuff today. Yeah, lots and lots of feels. Alrighty, let's see. So what happened first? Let's go with, okay, so we opened up with going down into Killian right after the last episode ended, basically. So we pick right back up with, like, he's sitting there, and Hades is like, well, what are you going to do? You got to choose which your friends you can leave behind. And Killian just tosses the chisel away and is just like, nope, not going to do it. And Hades pulls a dad. Hades is just like Killian's dad at this point. He's like, I'm not angry. I'm just disappointed. Like, okay, Dad, thanks. That's great. Thank you so much, Dad. We had him yanking Killian up by his hair and dragging him over to this boat of the boat to go across the River of Lost Souls, which, cool, fine. I'm glad that it's the River of Lost Souls and it's not the Leith. Many people last week, before all the promo stuff came out, I did see, people talking about it. A lot of people did think that it was the Leith, and that would mean that, like, memory loss, So glad that didn't happen because, you know, this show and amnesia happens all the time anyway. We don't need yet another excuse for amnesia to be happening on the show. So we have him drop him in the boat, and even like we had that happen, and then the title card hit. And let me just say, like, even the title card had zero chill today. Like, the title card had Killian wrapped up in chains dangling in the background. Like, okay, fine, thanks. That, like, no chill at all. Awesome. And then we go to we had this weird thing with Rumple going into the shop. And there's just this note from Pan, because apparently we couldn't just get Robbie K in for the episode, so we just had him write a title card thing. That's fine. Or not write a title card, write a note. It's like, okay, we just couldn't afford Robbie K's pay his acting fees for this time. So we had him write this note, and it's just like, and we can be a family again. Love your father. Like, okay, Pan, that's great, cool. And I didn't like. I was just kind of writing as I went. What potion he's making, because it's like there's eyeballs and there's a stick, and I'm like, honestly, when he poured the eyeball out and was like, he grabbed it in both hands and was about to drop it in, I thought he was gonna like break it, and I was like, why do you need to break the eyeball? Like, why? It's March. It's not Halloween. Don't break eyeballs. So that happened, and it turns out that he's just making a crystal ball to spy on Belle. Cool. And apparently Belle going to lunch with Leroy is enough for him to freak out, which turns out that's not the case later, which I was glad that I was glad later that when we found out why he made the crystal ball, it wasn't just to like peek in and make sure Belle was doing okay or whatever. I'm really glad that we found, like, it turned out to be what it was, which I'll get to in a minute because I have a lot of thoughts about that. I'm really glad that it turned out that that was not the case, that he wasn't just like spying on her, because I was like, really? You're shocked that she went out to lunch with Leroy and you're like, oh my God, I've been gone a day and she's cheating on me. And like, really? That's like, because I have enough reasons to like dislike Rumple as a person. Like, he's a great character because he makes you hate him, and that's great. So he works great as a character, but when it comes to the actual like person, if I knew him, I'd punch him in the face. So I was really like thinking like, oh, this is so creepy. Why are you, like, you don't need to amp up the creepiness, but then again, there's a different thing for it. So yeah, I'm glad that he wasn't freaking out because she wanted to lunch with Leroy. But I can't talk. I'm sorry. I'm having a day. I'm having a weekend actually. More water. Yes, I'm glad that he wasn't freaking out because Belle is totally allowed to go have lunch with Leroy. Just find your chill. We go back to the loft where they're kind of figuring out what the heck Cerberus did to the loft. I'm glad that we had the joke of like just how many people came down to save Killian. We had all 45 of you need to go charging in to get it to save him, or charging into wherever Hades was. But this, I wrote down all 45 of you, which, like, thank you for, you know, we need some lampshades occasionally to be hung on the fact that this rescue mission is a little bit out of control with how many people there are. So, okay, I see some people chatting. Hello, hello, hello. Yeah, no, he did have some moments, but Rumpelstiltskin, yeah. Oh, what did Lena do? I don't know what Lena did, except for, you know, she just has her rules, and I broke them in the last fic that I wrote with Liam, but whatever. I don't know if they're going to find a way, because, like, I don't know. It would be nice if they were able to find a way to save Mila, but I don't know what exactly is going to be going on with that, because, like, she just kind of becomes a husk. So, or, like, that's what he said happened anyway. So I don't really know how that's going to work. That'd be interesting if we did figure out like a way to, you know, fish her out and put her back to rights, but I don't think that that's something that's going to happen. It's going to happen. But yeah, oh my God. I'm just hung up on this promo for next week. I really am. I really am just like, I'm having a hard time. I'm not. Next week's going to be interesting. Tell your friends to watch me have a mental breakdown on live cam because next week. Okay, I need to stop. I need to actually like. I need to stop thinking about next week because I'm not ready. I don't know. It'd be nice if they did kind of figure out a way to save Mila. It would be nice because I think that it really cheated Killian out, which is honestly why Rumple did it. Like, more than anything else, he pushed her in the river to spite Killian one more time. Like, that's 1,000% the reason why he did it, other than the fact that he's just a douche. But like, I don't know. It would be nice if they could, but I'm not entirely sure that's what's going to happen. So we go, and then we just show that like Mila and Rumple's marriage is falling apart because he can't pick up sticks and he'd rather play with this kid, which whatever, Balefire gets bit by a snake. So, you know, that happens, and it's blue-bellied snake. I don't know. They had a name for it, and I didn't really catch it because I wasn't really focused on it because I was just like, get to the point of this flashback, which there was a really great point to the flashback, aside from showing that Rumple's just constantly been a POS, and that also karma comes around and bites you in the ass. So Balefire gets bit by a snake and everybody's freaking out. And then we flip back to the future where Mila's this crossing guard for children. Now, is she the crossing guard or is she like the caretaker? So there's like all of these children who have unfinished business in the underworld, which, you know, point number one, creepy, seriously creepy. And is she like the house mom for the children's home? Like, so she's doing her penance to pay all of these things. I don't know. So it's very, I'm interested to, like, I would love to, like, know more about what exactly she was doing. I'm sure somewhere somebody's asking Jane Espenson these questions, and we'll find out eventually. But, because it just looked like she was this crossing guard, and she's, like, constantly saying, I have to take care of these children, I have to go back, and it's like, well, they're already dead, so, wah, wah. Yeah, the creepy, like, there's kids in the underworld, like that's just creepy. If it's a place with unfinished business, like how many kids really have that much unfinished business, and how creepy is that they do? Like, ugh. I don't know, something about like ghost children and all that is just like, it kind of gives me the heebie-jeebies. I was going to say the hilly-billies, and that's not that's not a thing that people say. Yeah. So then we just have the, you know, sledgehammer over the head of abandon all hope ye who enter here, engraved on stone over top of the river, because why not? And then we have Hades chaining Killian up and dangling over everything. And like, I just want to point out that it's great that he's like, it's not great, but it's a good acting choice on Colin's part, but it's, you know, stabbing me right in the feels, but he's like in so much pain because he's like being dangled by his torso over top of things, like wrapped up in chains, and he's like shaking, but because he's in so much pain, but he's like not shouting, he's not like crying out in any pain, he's not letting it, he's trying his best not to let Hades know how much he's getting to him, which great acting choice on Colin's part, A+, buddy. And then we have, so like he's really pissed off because like of hope. I'm guessing. I'm trying to figure out exactly what the deal is here, but like what I'm getting out of it is because Killian had hope, he's trying to beat the hope out of him, and because everybody else brought down hope with them, he's just continuing to beat the crap out of him. That part confused me a little bit. Like, I'm not really understanding that. I'm just, I don't know. This whole, like, I really just want, like, to sit down with the writers and be like, give me all of your notes on the underworld, because I don't understand what you're doing with this. Like, because we had Cruella and Regina, and they're talking about the headstones, and I'm bouncing around a little bit. I'm sorry. So they're talking about these headstones, and I made sure to write them down because I was like, that's a really interesting point. And it's interesting because, like, they're kind of going against what Hades has been mad about. He's been mad because like they come down and they're apparently because they're bringing hope, and Hades mad at that, so he's sending people to take care of all that, to make sure that they can't do anything else. But then like we're still helping people move on. So we're like finding people to send to the next place, and like apparently then their headstone topples over. Like if their headstone's standing up, then they're still there and you can go find them and talk to them or whatever. If their headstone is tipped over, then that means they've moved on. And if their headstone is cracked, it means that they went to the bad place, or the even worse place, I guess. So now we have them doing, like we have, they're doing Hades' job, and is he mad that they're doing his job? Like I can't wrap my mind around it because I don't have the answers yet, and I'm waiting to find out more of why he's so angry about this. Because like we saw Daniel's headstone, which Daniel's last name is apparently Coulter. Okay, that's good, and I'll file that away for something, I guess. So the headstone's toppled over, which means he found a way to move on, which means he was there, but then he moved on. So why is he mad that people are like, I'm waiting. I like this arc enough so far, and I like Hades enough so far to like not have so much like about it, but I'm just so curious because like I don't understand. It's like somebody tore the page out of the book and it had all the crucial information out of it, and I would like that page back. It's all I want. I just want that one page back out of the book. Okay, I see there's chat stuff coming on. Yeah, it would be nice if they had that. It's not, yeah, it is kind of like they reunited Captain Swan next week's promo. It's just like it's throwing everybody into whiplash, which is great. I like a good whiplash. I like the angst. I do, like, don't get me wrong, I like the angst factor, and I'm all here for it. I'm just I like angst, but I'm also just like torn to pieces about it at the same time. And also Liam, yeah, no, okay. No, the general fandom rule is that Liam has to like Emma. That's the thing. It's always going to be that Liam likes Emma. So there, like, I think I can't think of any fics that anybody's written where Liam has had to be convinced on Emma before. I think everything is, like I said, unless it's like a Lieutenant Duckling fic, and then it's not like he doesn't like her. It's more like she's the princess and you're a lieutenant in the Navy. Get your head out of your ass. Like, that's the only time that I've ever seen him be like not supportive. It's not like he's not supportive. He's just like, you're gonna get your head cut off, and I would rather that not happen. So like Liam, why? I don't you like Emma? Yeah, all right, the Atlantean snake. I don't know. I'll have to rewatch my DVR recording because I don't know. And I wasn't really thinking, or I wasn't really thinking to like write it down, but it's not really that important, I guess. He got bit by a snake and it sucks. I guess maybe it's like if it's somebody else making them move on and interfering, and Hades wants to have these souls to have control and power. Like, I guess I can see that, where it's just like, you're doing my job for me and I'm mad about it. Well, apparently you weren't doing your job fast enough. Like, but that's what I would have to say to it, is like, you shouldn't have all these people here because like, you should, get on that, do your job. So yeah, I guess if all these kids are still around, here's the other thing, like, depending on which episode you're watching, Mila died like 300 something years ago, or within the last 100 years or something. And the Ogre Wars happened, so all of these kids have been around the same amount of time as Mila has, or longer, for anywhere from 1 to 3 centuries. Like, that's a long time for like a kid's soul to still be hanging around there. That's just, but it's still creepy. It still just creeps me out. Yeah. Okay, so we have Sorry, I have been cleaning and like there's dust everywhere in my eye. I can't breathe or see or anything. Everything's itchy. So he's pissed off. He's taking it out on Killian because he's all this hope. Whatever. Okay, sure. Cool story, bro. So Gold is never allowed to introduce anybody to anybody else ever again, because he's just like, oh, so here's this woman, and she slept with your son and also your ex. Have fun. Like, it's like the amount of slut shaming that went on there. It was just like, I try to like him. I really, really try. There's a lot of effort that goes into me being like okay with Rumpelstiltskin, but then he just pulls so much shit like this, and I'm like, why? I know why, because he's trying to pit them against each other. But Emma does the thing that Emma does, and she's just like, yeah, that happened, but we're gonna be grown-ups about it, and not let it bother us. So bless Emma for just rolling with the punches and dealing with his shit now. Rumpelstiltskin. Krill and Regina we talked about. I did like so we had Krill and Regina were there in the diner, and like not really much happened except like she wanted to know about the cemetery, and then we switched to, so we have Emma and Rumpel and Mila going to Emma's house, which is the entrance to even deeper into the underworld, which great. That's a nice, good job picking that house. So convenient for everybody. Now let's talk about how creepy it is that Emma's crib is all covered in cobwebs, and her, the mobile, and like there's like, you could see going up the stairs, there were like stuffed animals everywhere. So like creepy, super creepy that like the crib's there, and like, and that's a good way of like denoting like this is Emma's house, because we had the charming family photo in their loft, so now we have Emma's crib, and I want to say that there is something significant about that, but my brain is not working enough to like think just how significant it is, other than like, you know, she had this problem. Like if I can just, I'll just spout off the top of my head because it's my stream and I can do that if I want to, I guess. So what we had was all of this hope placed in Snow's baby. So she's pregnant, and so she's building this nursery, and she's putting all this hope into it, of like, this is where our child is going to be raised. This is where she's going to, I'm going to teach her how to walk in here and dress for her first ball, and all of those other things that she said when they found the crib, when they found the nursery in season 2. And now we have the crib in the house, and the house was going to be the hope. That was going to be where she and Killian and Henry like built their future together, and like they have these, like they just have all of these hopes and dreams placed on, we're going to have a house here, we're going to be a family, we're going to possibly expand our family. And now we have the crib in the house, and that might put a lot of spin onto some rumors that have been circling around the fandom, of just like, here's where hope doesn't exactly work out the way that you think it's going to. So we have both of these things that signified so much like possibility, and then we put them together into one big pile of sad times. So yeah, I saw a couple of people talk about Captain Swan Baby, but I'm not quite there yet. I do want that. Like, I have a lot of very mixed thoughts about a future Captain Swan Baby. If Emma was I have feelings about Emma specifically for it, but like the whole, because the mobile was all covered in cobwebs and everything, like the mobile, that alone just told me of like, this is not supposed to be a good thing. This is supposed to be a bad thing. So that was how I took it, as like lost potentials and lost hope and everything. So that's my 2 cents. So yeah, creepy crib in the house and all the stuffed animal. Like just the fact, like I liked the touch that it was like going up the stairs were like the giant stuffed tiger and everything. Like that was just like as when the door was closing by itself, which also creepy. Wait, like they're like making this into a horror show. The whole thing. It's great. You can see the tiger going up the stairs and everything. Like there are some really interesting scenery choices and A+. Which, oh, now that I think about it, when they were in the house at the end of the episode, was the crib still there or was it gone? I'll have to go back and rewatch that because I'm very curious if the cradle is still there or not. I was too busy paying attention to like what everybody was saying to like take in all the details. So there's that to think about. And I liked that we get down to the basement and we have Emma and Mila basically being like, screw you, Rumple, we're going to do this thing. I liked that like we had Emma give Mila the message of like, yeah, I saw Neil Balefire, whatever his name is, I don't know. And he's moved on and he's happy. Like, I liked that we had this moment of like Emma giving some hope to Mila because like that's what Emma does. Emma is the hope. So we had a good moment of that, and then both of them being like, we're going to do this. Do you have a problem with it? I guess I'm not allowed to have a problem with it. And we switch back to Corella and Regina. That's when they have the conversation about the headstones, which I feel kind of like the magic thing, like Regina and her magic was a little bit out of nowhere. Granted, I haven't really been paying attention like as closely as I should, but like I don't think we've had anybody really try to use much magic so far. Unless there was a little detail that I didn't notice of like Regina not being able to use her magic. I thought that was just a weird detail to just kind of drop in all of a sudden. I mean, I guess it works just for the point of it working. The Regina stuff this episode just kind of felt a little disjointed. Like it just kind of felt like, oh, we need to have her do something, so she's going to do this just to find Daniel, I guess. So we had them talking about the headstones. We had called it Underbrook, which, thank you. Somebody called it by the right name. It's Underbrook. We have... then we had this good flashback of, so Mila's trying to get did I write down or did I skip over it? I think I skipped over them, Mila and Rumple going and talking to the healer. So they went to go talk to this healer, and I think I skipped over because I thought it was a boring scene. They went and talked to the healer, and they tried to get this antidote to the snake poison, and it's too expensive. So Mila's like, well, it doesn't matter if he's dead. So they're at a tavern. They spend the last of their gold on this knife, and she's trying to get him to go and stab this healer, which... I'm like, I know that she's trying to get him to do stuff, and if she's like on her last legs and she's just like, listen, if you just do this thing, then maybe I won't be so mad at you all the time. But like, really, she could have gone down, like at this point, like she should have just like, screw you, I'm gonna go kill this guy myself. But maybe she just wasn't at the point yet where she could have done that. So we have them go do that, and then this rowdy guy comes in, and Killian shows up, and he punches this guy in the face, and he's like, yo, the woman doesn't want it, so back off. He gets her a drink. They have like, it's a very meet cute kind of situation where they're just kind of like chatting, and like she finds out he's a pirate, and she's like, okay, but also adventure, so tell me about adventure. Where they kind of just chat about things, and then Killian finds out. And here's the thing that I got, the big takeaway from this scene is suck it, haters. First off. Second off is that when Mila reveals that she has a husband and a son, the first thing Killian does is like, looks like I lost this battle to a better man. And then he immediately backs away, and he's like, well, if you find that you don't have a husband anymore, I'm in port often and I might see you around. And then he leaves. and that's it. Like there was no, like none of this, how, you know, the haters are always like, oh, he forces himself, he stole her away. Well, first off, you can't steal people. Like that's not how that works. And second off, now we have proof that he was like, oh, you have a husband. Well, if you find yourself not having a husband anymore, let's go. So like he definitely backed off the moment that he knew that she was taken. So but it was a very nice scene of just like setting the stage of like, she has this moment of like, oh, I have an out if I ever need it. Like that gave her the chance to just realize that she did have an out if she ever felt like she couldn't take it anymore, which turns out, yes. It turns out that's what happened there. But so that's how they met. That was I thought that was a really great scene. It was really nice. And I wasn't prepared for the red vest, and I wasn't prepared for tiny Captain Jones. There was a lot of things I was unprepared for, but it was a good scene. I liked that. And I'm going to read this exactly how I wrote it. So what happens next is the Captain Swan reunion scene. I'm going to read you. This is exactly what I have written. I'm going to read it for you. Not gonna lie, my heart was beating too fast to take any notes. This is all in caps now. I was really worried Emma was gonna fall into the river. Okay, but my babies are fine. I never listen. It's your M, Y-O-U, lowercase u, Y, capital O-U, apostrophe R-E-M, space, impossible. And you love me for it. For it is all smushed together because I could not hit the space bar. Apparently there was too many emotions, and then I just key smashed for a little bit, and it's all in caps lock. So yeah, like I was legit like really freaked out about like, because I don't like heights, and I especially don't like heights when there's like this, here I'm gonna walk across this narrow strip of land to get to the other side of this huge chasm. That's not that, like I get freaked out in video games when I have to do that. When there's like a cliff dive, I can't, like my stomach drops out even when I'm doing a cliff dive on a video game. When I'm 30 feet from the TV, it doesn't work. So like Emma having to cross this chasm like really freaked me out. And then like I had written something earlier this week about like Emma losing her balance when she was trying to cross this thing, and like I was like, oh my God, what if this happens? I have to watch through my fingers. I can't do this. Like there was a lot of panic happening today. But then she got there in time, and she grabbed him and she pulled him over, and they had a conversation, and there was hugging, and there was they're back together. It's okay. Oh, there was a lot of I was really just I had some moments. All right, so we have some comments. I'm gonna pause there just to breathe because we're stopping into another scene, which I think also was a good scene. The next scene between Mila and Rumpelstiltskin. Yeah, I did see that there was a suggestion of Liam being actually Rumple or being manipulated. I did see that, and I did think like, okay, so I could be on that. I'm not okay with Liam not liking Emma. I just am not, just because she's already proven herself so much with so many other things that I'm just like, why? Like, I don't want, it's like she's done. She's already here. She's already here to save him. Like, why does she need to prove anything else for him? Like, come on, seriously. I'm so over him having to prove things to people, but yeah. Hades is using the Underbrook people to try to overthrow Zeus like he does in some mythology, like maybe Hades gets his power from people being in limbo. I don't know. I was wondering about that, honestly. I have been kind of like, that's been the thought that's like been idling around in the back of my mind. I don't really know what's going on with that. Because like really he's not like gaining anything from it, and he hasn't actually been doing anything with it, so like why would that be the case? Like I don't get it. I don't know. So like unless there is, like, if he has enough people, then he can, like, use their souls somehow to gain enough power to do this. Maybe, but I don't really know, and it's something, it is something to think about, but I just feel like, I don't, if there are cracked stones and there are stones that are knocked over and everything, then that is a sign that there are people who are moving on one way or the other to their whatever lives that they're at. So that's great. So, but that doesn't really like lend itself too much to the idea of like him purposely keeping so many people around for that. So I don't really know. That's a good question though. Yeah, I'm starting to think that the house might be ruined for them. There's some rumors about that. I'm not really sure, but we'll see. Yeah, the loft is supposedly ready for snowing when they died. They need it, with everything they'd need, but Emma's house has the crib that she never got to be in. Yeah, which is why I'm thinking that it's like more supposed to signify like that this is the house of lost potential. Because there's, yeah, because like if the loft is there, then that's like they're going to be there, which is also like something to think about. Like, well, okay, so that we already know that they are going to have unfinished business. So like, is everything like that? And then that starts to call into question, like, you know, fate and destiny and all that, and like, do they have free will, which we've already gone over in season 4, with the whole author thing. So are they going to have unfinished business? Apparently they are. If there's already a place for them and it's already all set up and ready for them, like that's not huge foreshadowing or anything for I don't even know what. But then like Emma's house just has her crib. It's specifically her crib. Like, unless, I mean, I know that like, you know, with budgeting and everything that they've had to reuse some props sometime, but like that's specifically Emma's crib and her mobile covered in the cobwebs and her stuffed animals. So I'm just very interested to see what's going on with that. So I don't know, but we will have to see about that. Right. So we have this really good scene with Rumple and Mila, and I liked that, like, so much is always like there's so many times where we're like, okay, it's going to be like the fandom miscalls everything all the time. Like that's just a thing that happens. We expect one thing to happen and it goes completely different way. Like that's just something that happens. And what I liked about this was like a really civilized conversation. And like, yes, it was when Rumple had to be like, he's being watched by Mila because she thinks that he's going to run away with the boat, which true. Good call on that. And it was just like, you know, it's revealing things about her, about how she's like, you know, she basically said like, I wanted to leave you, but that wasn't fair to our son. Like, it's not fair to him that like, he had to grow up without a mom because I hated his dad. Like she full up admitted like that wasn't fair. So her unfinished business was her son, which again goes into question of like, okay, so why wasn't Neil's unfinished business his son? But that's a whole other issue. So I just liked that there was just this civilized conversation about like two people who were once in a marriage and they both screwed up, and they're just having this honest conversation about like, we had a son and he was the best thing that happened to us and we both screwed it up. We both screwed up our kid, and somehow he still found it in him to, you know, move on or forgive his father. And so then, you know, Rumple was even being like, well, he's going to forgive you because if he forgave me and like, or if he that's not a word. If he forgave me for all the things that I did, which were like infinitely worse, which true, then he's going to forgive his mom. So like, it was a good conversation, which really just makes me think that like, if Killian wasn't a factor in this, then like, well, if Killian wasn't a factor in this, then like they wouldn't be here. But if there wasn't anything that like Rumple was like, if this had been a chance for them to just talk like as two people, one was dead and one was not, like, or even if they were just both dead, if they had met when Rumple was in the underworld before, like, I think this would have just been a good conversation for them to have to be able to move on. That like, because it was just such a open, raw conversation that was just, it was just good. It was a good scene between them, which just leads me to believe that if Killian hadn't been a factor in this, then Mila wouldn't have gone into the River of Lost Souls. Like, because it was really just Killian. It was really just because of Killian that he did that, just as a final screw you to Killian about it. So, yeah. But yeah, it was a really great, it was good. It was a good scene. It was a good conversation. It was a necessary conversation. It just sucks the way that the episode ended up being. So Rumple gets the potion. He has to make a deal and whatever. And then we have this weird thing where they're like not in the boat anymore because apparently Mila trusts Rumple enough to be like, yeah, we'll get out of the boat now. And they're kind of watching the river, and Mila gets frozen by Hades' magic, and Rumple and Hades are going to go have a chat, which, you know, great. I liked that they found Daniel's grave, and I liked that Daniel moved on. I was kind of hoping that there would be a little something with, like how Emma got a little flash of Neil when she was coming down. I was hoping there'd be kind of a little flash of Daniel. But it was nice that she got to see his grave, and it was nice that she got to like be like, I'm happy. Like Regina got that closure basically. I thought that was a really good closure for her to just know that like Daniel died in a terrible way, but like he was judged to be good enough to pass on to, I'm just going to call it the Elysian Fields because we're in the underworld and we're Greek mythology, whatever. So he was able to move on to the Elysian Fields. It was just really nice that she got that closure. That was good. Okay, so this. I just liked the aesthetic of this scene, to be perfectly Tumblr about it, I guess. Just Rumple and Hades playing pool and drinking brandy. Like the two worst villains we've had so far on the show. We have like basically the devil himself and the worst dark one to ever exist so far, hopefully ever. And they're just having a chat, drinking brandy and shooting some pool. And I feel like I need to watch it again, or at least see some stills, because I feel like all of the balls were red. And I'm like, that's not how a pool table looks. But I liked it. Was just like, it was a very aesthetically pleasing scene of just like, this is what I like in my villains. I like them making evil plans and playing pool or billiards or whatever you want to say it, and just drinking alcohol and being dicks to each other, basically. It was such a good, it was just so, it was aesthetically pleasing on my soul, regardless of the outcome of whatever happened next. So we find out that Hades wants Rumple to sink the boat so they can't leave, even though like Hades is gonna like he'll send Rumple back himself, and then like, oh, we'll just screw everybody, it'll be fine. Like, that's okay, classic Hades dick move. Which is great. I'm just like, everything that Hades does, I'm just like, you're such a jackass, but I love it. Mostly because I know he's only going to be like this one half season of villain. I'm just super excited that like he just gets to be this jovial jackass about everything that he does. I'm just so thrilled about it. So then we find out, we go back, we have another flashback, and we find out that Rumple signed a contract to sell off his second-born child, and basically just robbed Mila of any choice, because he's like, oh, it's okay because we'll never have a second child. Now, I would like to note that I did not catch this at first. I caught the fact that, well, like, I was thinking, like, you know, maybe Mila wanted more kids someday. Maybe she wanted to, like, be like, oh, so we'll just have a family with our future. My thinking was just like, okay, so you just stole, like, my immediate thought is just like, Rumple stole Mila's choice sharply contrasting against how Killian is basically all about giving people choice, because now that we know that he was an indentured servant and like robbed of all choice, and like he's all 100% about choosing your own path and doing all this stuff. So that was my immediate thought. I did not catch the old switcheroo that happened towards the end, which I have thoughts about. We'll get to that in a minute. So Rumble tosses, Rumble threw Mila into the River of Lost Souls, which that was a dick move. I've said it a couple times now. Huge dick move. Solely 100% legitimately only did it because Killian was coming back and he did not want to give them that closure. The only reason why he did it, honestly, because like he's lying about it. He's like, oh, Hades was here and Hades did this, and the like 100% if Killian hadn't been back, like there would have been something different that happened there. Like that's totally 100% just as a big screw you to Killian. I'm mad about that because like I'm mad about that because it's a dick move, but also just because like you're removing choice again. This is where I start to get mad. There's a weird moment, like this is weird, and I know I don't even know what the significance of it is, but we have this weird moment with Regina and a horse for reasons. The horse like runs away in slow-mo after she heals it, and it's just like, oh, I have my magic back, which again, when did you lose your magic? Like that hasn't been well communicated, so that just kind of felt a little bit weird. No, Regina's storyline this episode was weird, and I didn't really like it very much. The slow-mo horse, weird horse scene. So they get back to the Captain Swan house, which everybody's like, "Oh, Killian, you're alive! Yay!" And my first thought was, okay, we're gonna get the boat, it'll be fine, but like we'll figure out a way to get out of here. Let's do this heart thing. And my only note was, okay, let's watch this heart thing not happen, because I have been saying for months that it's not going to happen. Which it didn't happen. It didn't. Is it going? Is this happening now? Holy crap. I don't know what just happened. All right, hang on. I'm back. Sorry, I don't know what's going on. Hopefully this is working. Is this working? Somebody, I know it's like there's a delay now. I keep asking, is this working? Okay, wow. I don't know what happened. I don't know why that just kicked me off. There's nothing wrong with my internet. I don't know. I don't know what the last thing I was talking about. Let me go back to this and see. Sorry about that. I had technical issues. Not a clue what happened there. I really everything just cut out. Sorry. Let's see. What do we have? So yeah, yeah, good thing with Killian and Mila, good things. Yeah, sorry. Okay, we're back. It's good. What was I talking about? Oh, okay. So I was talking about the heart thing and how we couldn't take out, or no, I talked about the heart thing. Emma and Snow and Regina are stuck here now. So Emma, Snow, and Regina are now stuck in the underworld because Hades said, well, if you're not going to choose, then I choose for you, I guess. So I'm very interested to see how we fix this later, how we're going to be futzing around trying to figure out, like, okay, how do we undo this? Which I think is interesting. It's an interesting way of like sticking around. We have Rumpel killed the healer when he was the Dark One because he's like, I don't like being in debt to anybody. Well, okay, good job, buddy. Oh, you're here to be spoiled. Well, I'm sorry, Winston the Butterfly. You have missed a very huge chunk of the live stream already. So I'm sorry that you're super late into it, but I'm glad that you're here now to watch the end of it and really get spoiled because let's talk about the fact that Belle's pregnant. I am really glad that they didn't try to whitewash Mila. You know, she did make a choice and it was a bad choice. It was a good choice for her, a bad choice that affected a lot of other people in other ways. So, you know, she was very selfish. I'm glad that she acknowledged that. So Rumpel kills the healer because he didn't want to be in debt because he signed away his second-born child. And I'm glad that he went to go talk to Hades. So after we find out that Mila's gone now. So Emma and Regina and Snow their names have been inscribed on the tombstones. So they're going to be stuck here because Hades made a choice. So Emma's heart can't be removed, even though we know that it can't be removed anyway because, you know, season 2. And I'm glad that we got to go back to Rumpel, where Rumpel proceeds to get royally pounded in the ass by Hades. And I was just like, here's my whole thoughts on this. Not that you're not here to watch that anyway, but we're gonna get into this. So I feel bad for Belle because, as usual, Belle is getting screwed over. That's just how it works for Belle. She gets the short end of the stick always, and please get Will Scarlet back on the show and let him take Belle away. There's an except. So Hades was like, oh yeah, I'll just poof you back to the overworld, it'll be fine. And but except he voided a contract. So Rumpel made this contract with the healer. It was like, okay, I'll just take your second-born child. So Rumpel's plan was like, oh, okay, so Mila and I just won't have a second child. And Mila's like, well, screw you. I'm going to go drink my woes away and go run away with this pirate captain because you're awful. So it turns out that the weird crystal ball thing that Rumpel was making, which my first thought again was he's spying on Belle, and I'm like, you've been gone for 12 hours, you can't trust her. It's not that. He wanted the he wanted the ball to show him his child. He wanted to show him his son. So he was looking for Neil, Balefire, whatever. I'm going to say Neil because it's less of a mouthful than Balefire. So he wanted to show him Neil. Well, you can't do that because Neil's, dead in the next part of the afterlife. And instead it showed him Belle. And that's why he dropped it, because he realized that Belle was pregnant. Belle doesn't know she's pregnant. Well, she's going to soon, because Emily, at the time of filming this, was very heavily pregnant. She's had her child now. So we have Belle, and she's pregnant. So it turns out that the contract does not just mean, it doesn't mean like Rumple and Mila's second child. It's just Rumple's second child. Rumple's second child will be the child that he's having with Belle. Again, I feel terrible for Belle in this, but I'm laughing maniacally because screw you, Rumple, for trying to like trick everybody. But at the same time, I'm just like, okay, but Belle doesn't deserve any of this, because Belle is a precious angel and deserves no pain ever, and all she gets is pain. So I'm just like, there's no win for where I'm at right now. I feel so like the healer, it turns out the healer's in the underworld. The healer sold the contract to Hades, so now Hades owns Rumple's ass. So Hades basically owns the unborn child. Rumple now works for Hades, and he's basically going to work for him until he calls in the whole like, okay, I'm going to take your baby now. And there's one thing that he like needs Rumple to do, and I want to know what it is, because like I'm like, well, you're a god, so clearly you can do like everything. What do you need Hades? Hades, what do you need Rumple to do to actually like that? It's anything. Like what do you need him to do that you can't do yourself, basically? So like I'm just like, I'm kind of on the edge of my seat, like, oh, maybe this is gonna work, maybe this is gonna be great. And then it's like, but also Belle, who just needs to run away with Will Scarlet, and like it'll be great, it'll be fine, it'll be perfect, they'll be happy, and Belle won't have to be stuck with Rumple shit anymore. Just saying. So yeah, I'm so excited that Rumple is getting rumpled by somebody else, but not at the expense of Belle. So that's how I feel about that. And then the promo for next week. Okay, so I know I've interspaced it because everybody is upset about this. So this promo for next week. Okay, it's got to not be Liam, because Liam loves Emma. That's just that's canonical fact that Liam loves Emma. Take that however way you wish, how he loves her. I read a couple of good fics that says he loves her very romantically, but that's just me. But he likes her because he makes his brother happy. So why doesn't he like her? And I don't. And there's backstory, and there's like the rise of the baby pirate captain, and I we're going to have one of these in a little while. We haven't had a feels up hood either, so we're going to have the feels hood today, and we're going to have the pillow to scream into, because there's feelings happening, guys. I don't know how to handle this. So basically, all the Easter bunnies that I'm going to get next week, the chocolate bunnies, I'm just going to be sitting there like eating my feelings. So please join me next week for feelings eating. So yeah, I do like, last time I said I like the idea of Belle and Rumple where it's based on trust and truth and all that, but like that's the thing. When it's good, and when it's this, I'm just like, why? I'm like, I like the idea of Rumble. I really do, with the caveat that Rumple is not a huge douchebag, and like that's his character, is that he is a huge douchebag. Now I'm beating up my pillow. So I'm just so, and the other thing with the promo is that there's definitely a spot that has Killian on the bridge going towards the light. And he looks back and he's going to make the choice. I know he's going to make the choice to not do that because Colin Donohue is under contract for the next however long. And that's just how it's going to happen. But I'm sorry, I shook everything. Oh, another thing, I didn't talk about this. So there's something to talk. So like somebody, Mari just said Killian all caps with an unhappy face, which I agree with that. I agree. Killian all caps, unhappy face. When we got to the scene where Emma was like, okay, let's do this heart thing and we'll get out of here. We'll figure out a way to get out of here. And Regina goes to, do that. Killian just had this look on his face like, heart sharing? What? Like he just had this look on his face like, you would do that for me? Like I don't want to whoopify him. I don't want to be that person who's just like, he's a precious little baby, did nothing wrong. He's done some things that are wrong. But he just had that look on his face and I'm just like, I live in ships for the look that just is like, you love me this much to do this thing that is objectively terrifying and horrible, and you're going to do this anyway because you love me that much. Those are the ship things that I live for. So, yeah. So I think that's all I have, honestly, after the mishap with the stuff and the things. Yeah, I just really want to know what Hades wants Rumple to do for him, that it's like, you can't, unless it's impersonating Liam to manipulate Killian to go into the next life. Call it, maybe that's what Hades needs him to do. Maybe that's what he needs him to be like, hey, you need to impersonate this. Because that's the other thing, like, yes, feasibly Liam's unfinished business would be Killian. Like that would be like really that would be what we would assume it to be. It would be that's his little brother. But it's still a long time to be in the underworld and not realize like, okay, maybe I can do this without that happening. I don't know. So that I think is going to be it because I can't think of anything else, and I have smudges on my glasses now because I buried my face in my pillow and I smushed my glasses against my face. And if you wear glasses, then you know that if you smush skin against glass, there's markings and you can't see anything. So I can see things. They're just big, colorful, blurry blobs. So unless anybody else has anything, and there's sentences that I see that I know that there are lines, I just can't read what they say. So let's figure that. Is it weird that I kind of want them to screw up the family tree even more by having them bring Liam back? He gets with Belle, making the baby Henry's uncle and cousin by marriage, and then have more kids just to mess it up even more. No, it's not that weird. I've seen, weirdly enough, I've seen that a couple of times today, of people talking about like Liam and Belle as a couple. That's, yeah, like weird coincidence, or you've also seen those things on Tumblr. I am firmly on the good ship Frozen Jewel with Liam and Elsa. There's a lot of people who angle for Liam and Tinkerbell, and they're angling for the wrong blonde. Jones Brothers like blondes, but not Tinkerbell. So, yeah, no, we're going with Elsa. I'm on the good ship Frozen Jewel. But that would be interesting to have Liam coming back. I would love them to bring Liam back. I don't think it's going to happen. The next week is going to end with Liam crossing over into the light, and that's going to happen. So yeah, next week I'm going to be bringing some tissues because I like legitimately tears in my eyes as that promo finished. Like, and I watched a couple of times, and each time there's tears welling up in my eyes. I was just like, this is not gonna happen. This will only end in tears, and that's gonna be me next week. I'm gonna be sitting here like wiping my face and have someone get some tissues, and it's gonna be a mess. If you want, again, tell your friends to watch me be a big mess over the Brothers Jones next week. So yeah. Mulan and Ruby, sexy werewolf lesbian adventures. Yeah, that would be a good spinoff. I feel like we'd have to be on the CW, but that would be actually no. We could put that on Netflix because, like, you know, Daredevil just came out, and like at the end of every Daredevil, I'm only on episode 5 because I don't have time to like do everything. But I saw the first 5 episodes of the new season of Daredevil, so I did cry at episode 4 because, you know, when you have soldier things, particularly Marines, that means I'm going to be in tears for lots of personal reasons. But like at the end of every episode, it just says, you know, it's produced by ABC Studios. So I'm like, okay, so Mulan and Ruby, sexy lesbian werewolf adventures. That could be on Netflix. It could be just as highly rated as Orange is the New Black. There is a market for lesbian TV on Netflix. Just saying. Oh, Mulan is Haruka and Ruby is Michiru. I would have to think about that. Mulan is Haruka, and I mean, like, I guess if you think like bare minimum, like Mulan is the tomboy and Ruby is the like, she's not really like a huge girly girl though. So yeah. Hi Bruna. Yeah, they're Swan Queen shipper. I respect Swan Queen shippers. I'm not on your team, but I respect your choices. I'm not going to badmouth anything. I do appreciate Emma and Regina as friends. But okay, so this, yeah, the glasses thing is bad. I'm gonna have to think about the Ruby and Haruka. There's a crossover for you right there. I wish I had a Ruby figure if we had the Funkos, because I have my Michiru up there on my shelf. I have all my toys up here because I've cleaned everything off. My desk is very clean right now because I built my new computer. It's sitting here. It has no software on it. It has all the guts and everything. It's all in there. It turns on, but my monitor is not compatible with that. So we have to find a hookup thingy that makes it compatible. And I can actually then put stuff on it. And then next week for sure, we're going to be streaming on the new computer, and it's going to be great. So all the toys are up. I can show you because I can move things. I'm going to try not to make anybody sick as I'm doing this, but we can move around, and all of my toys are up on the shelf. So there's all of my stuff here and everything that's up there. Well, that happened. Hi, sorry, trying to make anybody sick. Yeah, so and all my Christmas lights are on because I just left the lights on because they're pretty. Yeah, so if I had a Ruby toy, then I could get my Michiru, and we could have some crossover adventures with that. The promo of 515, you must have just missed my weeping about it, because like I watched it 3 times and I cried every single, like there were tears in my eyes every single time. So yeah, I'm looking forward to the pain, but I'm going to cry the whole time. That's my feelings on 515. I have on my calendar back there, I wrote Liam in all caps on the 27th. It's legitimately on my calendar, that with tears, like I'm going to be a mess next week. So really, like, if you want to see somebody be a mess, be here next week, 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And that's going to be me. So yeah, promo 515 is me being a hot mess. That's what I think of it. I think it's gonna work out. It's gonna work out fine in the end. It's just gonna be painful to get there. Tink and Elsa with Liam. They've read a couple good fics with him and Belle. Of course, there's Emma and Jones Brothers trio. There is that. If you are over the age of 18, then I recommend there is Emma and Killian and Liam as a threesome, as a polyamorous couple. It's a great series of fics. I am always very excited when she updates that. Now we're finally going to France. She's only been teasing that for 2 entire stories. I've just seen like fan art, honestly, of Tink and Liam. I have not seen like fic with Tink and Liam. I've only granted, I will asterisk, I've only looked for fic with Elsa and Liam. So there's my little asterisk. I've only done that, but I have seen more fan art, or even like manips with Tink and Liam than I have actually seen fan art of Liam and Elsa. So take that as you will. Emma and Lily, Dragon Swan. Like, there's not. I don't really know if there's anything for Liam and Emma. If there's a ship for, I think there is. Obviously, I mean, there was a lot of chemistry between them. I don't think there's a name for Emma and Lily. Like, the only thing I think would be like Swan Dragon, but then like we have Dragon Queen for Regina and Maleficent. So like, would we also attribute the dragon thing to Lily as well? Unless there's like Swan Flower, Swan Star because of the tattoo, Star Swan, Flower Swan. I don't know. I don't know if there's the name for that. But I like. I know Frozen Swan is a thing with Emma and Elsa. Again, I prefer Emma and Elsa as friends. That's just my shipping preference. I can see where people get it, but once again, like I put a lot of my own personal feelings onto both Emma and Elsa as characters, like in their separate things. Like to get like in the same show, like I have very different opinions about like what I have them as when they're in their separate things. But honestly, as much as like Emma and Elsa were like BFFs 5 ever in the show, like honestly, I more saw where like when Frozen came out, there was this huge surge of people who shipped Elsa and Anna together, which, you know, hey, do whatever you want, man. Ship whatever you want. You're having fun as long as nobody's actually getting hurt. But honestly, I saw more Elsana in the show than I did in the movie. And I was like, oh, that's where the shippers get that from. So I was like kind of like low key on that ship when they were on the show. Yeah, so I don't know what Emma and Lily's thing is. I really don't. Black Swan, I mean, I don't know what that would be for a ship name. Because I don't think anybody, there's like Emma, I don't know. I can't really think. Like, Black Swan is just what I think of. Honestly, I call her Black Swan more than I did Dark Swan when she was the dark one, because she had the ballet bun thing going on, and I was just like, you are really angling on the thing that, yeah. So I have talked about the promo for 515 a couple of times now. There's lots of tears about it. I'm looking forward to the episode, but I'm really like emotional about it. Emma Lily being Black Swan. Yeah, I don't know what that is. Because I don't know where the black comes from with Lily. Was her last name? Her last name wasn't. Honestly, the first thing I thought of was Lily Aldrin. And I was like, no, that's from How I Met Your Mother. So let me just do Once Upon a Time Wikipedia. Let's do that. Because I have the internet here. Gosh, I should probably use it. Was Lily's last name Black? Really? Lily. No, her name is Lily Page. So it'd be like Page Swan. Yeah, I don't know. And there's not like her hair's brown. Less like we talk about how they changed actors' ethnicities between young Lily and older Lily, but that's a whole other issue in and of itself that we could be here all night about. Yeah. Oh, I guess since she's like Emma's darkness, like if we're talking about how like Emma took all of Lily's whiteness, and that's coming off of the ethnicity thing, and like Lily taking all the darkness, like they could be like, you know, a Tao symbol, like the black and white Tao symbol, which again, they're Panda. That's their ship name. Their ship name is Panda because it's black and white. And or my slippers. They're the ship Panda. That is Emma and Lily. These are my slippers because my feet are freezing cold in this little corner of my room. So Yeah, I can always look for Tink and Liam, but they're not my ship of preference, so I don't read ships that I'm not in preference with. So, you know. Which actually, I've just since we're talking about ship things, I was wondering kind of like what the rarest ship pairing in like the fandom is, and like I can think that there's probably a lot. Like there's really not a lot of slash, like male slash. Like there's plenty of femme slash. Like this is the first fandom I've been in like in ever where like the predominant thing is femme slash, and that's because we have so many kick-ass female characters. So like great. But like where there's not a lot of like male slash, and what there is kind of like so so I was like, okay, so that's kind of weird that like there's not a lot of like slash happening right now, even though like there's a lot of great potential for it. I know that one of my friends and we pitched around this idea for like an AU of like Killian and Robin, and like they're both in sports in college, and some things happen in the shower, you know, as you do. But then I was like trying to think of like, so we have all these femme slash ships, and like we just kind of like pick and choose and like intermingle everybody and see what happens. But then like I was thinking like, is there anything for like Emma and Anna? And there's nothing, 0 things. And I was like, I don't want to have to write this, but I feel like I'm going to have to write this just because it doesn't exist. And it's so weird. Like, it's so weird that we have like literally everything else, but like, that's the one that I can't find. So I'm just like very curious as to like why. But we're very dedicated to whatever ship we sail on in this armada, in this fandom. So yeah. Oh, I'm sure there is a lot of dark places on the internet where that is, but I do not frequent those because I'm 26 and Henry's 13, so I know better than that. But I'm sure there's somewhere there's some strange people doing that. Yeah, you would think. Like, and I at least like I have seen like Hook and Pan, because like obviously like when they were on screen, like they're very much like Pan is like the dominant one in their relationship, take that as you will. And like Rumple and Hook, I've seen a lot of that, but like other than that, I'm just like, guys, come on, like let's I think the fandom is it's a very young fandom. Like overall comparatively, it's a very young fandom compared to things that I've been in before. So it's very interesting from like somebody who's a very seasoned fandom participant to see like so many. It's very vanilla and it's very young. So I'm just like, I'm waiting. I'm like on chin hands. I'm like, I'm waiting to see what happens, to see where things go from here. So yeah. Oh God, that's awful. Henry and Regina that's bad. I can't get behind that. Ugh. All right, so on that unhappy note, last week we ended on such a nice note. Emily had her baby. Everything's great, and now we're ending on really creepy incest-ish fandom. All right, on that note, I think it's time to end it. My voice is going, my nose is itching, and I still need to vacuum. Because again, we'll do the setup thing another time. I might make a video, since I actually have the power to actually make videos again. Then I will actually like do like a setup tour. I'll show you guys like everything that's going on with this, because I'm very excited about it. We were putting everything together today, and I was just like, I was more like, my friend's husband was like the guy actually doing it, and he's like explaining to me, and I was, I had smaller fingers, so I was like jamming little plugins everywhere just to try and get everything together. But like he kind of walked me through everything, and I was just like, okay, so now that I actually know what I'm doing, or like how I would be able to do it, I think next time, just if you're watching me and making sure I was like putting everything in order the right way. But I'm very excited to get this thing going. It's very large. There's like 7 fans. There's if you follow me on Instagram at all, it's my name on Instagram. It's MidnightArticuno, just like the username here. I've been posting pictures all day of the progress of us building this computer. So I'm very excited. So next week will definitely be more power for everything. So yeah. All right. So, yeah, okay. On that note, we will adjourn until next week. Again, tell your friends to come and watch a weeping 26-year-old woman on her web camera. And it'll be a good time for everybody. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you guys next week. Bye. And